Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today you join me here in Belfast. I'm on another work trip, so I've got a little bit of time now to explore the city, and I've come down to the dock area where, as you can see behind me, is the Titanic Museum here in Belfast, and that is where I'm going to visit this afternoon. I just bought my ticket online. It was £21.50 and you get a little PDF document to have your ticket on, so it's an e-pass. So I'm going to go and explore there. You have access to the museum just here, and then just over here behind me as well you have the SS Nomadic as well, which you get entry to as well. So I'm going to explore that for a little bit, but I'm going to first make my way in towards the museum, have a wander around for a little bit. It's a walk-through experience, should take a couple of hours, and yeah, I'll show you around there as we have a little bit of an explore. So this here is part of the docks area here in Belfast, and as you can see just across the way there is the Titanic Museum. So I've just done my short walk from the hotel. Gonna venture around here now and start heading towards the museum. I've got my ticket booked for 12:30, which is in about half hour, so by the time I get over there, get the tickets up on my phone, it'll be just about time. And as I mentioned, it is a half-hour walk from my hotel. I'm staying at the Clayton Hotel here in Belfast City Centre. So if you want to know about that hotel and the room, click the link down in the description below and I'll show you the room tour of that hotel. So here we are then, the Titanic Museum here in Belfast. Really cool little sign out front. Titanic kind of engraved in a piece of like metal. Very, very cool. Let's make our way on in. So at the moment it is book online only. You can't actually buy any tickets at the desk over here. They want you to go over to the QR codes and use the ticket machines and stuff around the building. So let's go and collect our tickets and start the experience.
No route remains in road route. That's what they're saying on the street. And where would that lead us in the end?
So it gives you some history about Belfast. Talks about how the population rose from 90,000 in 1851 to nearly 350,000 by 1901. Different buttons you can press to activate.
We've been coming to the city to do the heavy work.
Different voice bits.
There'd be no Belfast without us. Shipbuilding, skilled work. Can't deny it.
Industrial Belfast, the largest and most important, prosperous commercial and manufacturing city in Ireland. How many tons of whiskey were exported from Belfast between 1900 and 1920? $526,000 tons. 20 years, that's crazy. What was the value in pounds of whiskey exported from Ireland in 1912? Whoa, nearly £2 million. That's crazy. This is really cool. Talk about the different areas of Belfast. The main offices. The Belfast Ropework Company. academical institutions, City Hall. Really cool. In 1663 they started building ships in Belfast. Harlan and Wolff. Obviously that's the initials that you get on the cranes here.
Great affairs, James. Great affairs. Always that way when Mr. Ismay dines with his lordship. I should think so. His lordship and Mr. Ismay are eminent men. Harlan and Wolff is the world's greatest shipbuilder, and the White Star Line is the jewel of the Atlantic services. Britannia rules the waves. I hear Cunard is faster now. It's not a matter of speed, James. Not for Mr. Ismay's passengers. Gentry always do appear to have time on their hands. Oh, we'll have none of that talk here. I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison, I'm fair one out. What's so special about Mr. Ismay's ships, then? Luxury, James. That's the mark of the White Star Line. Luxury and elegance. But the better sort expected, Mr. Ismay provides it. And that's why they're going to build them bigger still. Where'd you hear that, James? Over dinner. Before the gentleman retired to talk, his lordship was talking about the largest dry dock in Belfast. Enormous gantries, a dry dock built for a ship that hadn't even been built yet. The footman here's in service, he keeps to himself, James. I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison, they didn't say anything precise, I was merely speculating. You may have speculated more accurately than you realised. I did? I, of course, was privileged to accompany the gentleman to the smoking room. They are indeed proposing a new generation of ocean liners. Big ships, Mr. Harrison. The largest and most luxurious ever. Not so fast as Cunard's Lusitania, but half as big again, and more to the liking of the upper crust. 3, I think they said. Beats me where they find this sort of money from. That's the clever part, James. Mr. Ismay has the backing of the distinguished American financier John Pierpont Morgan through his shipping firm, the International Mercantile Marine Company. But I thought he built British ships. They fly the British flag, James, and they shall be constructed in our finest shipyard by our most skilled craftsmen. Great Leviathans acting as ambassadors for the Empire. British ships built with American money. Whatever's the world coming to? That's not for the likes of you and I to wonder, James. I don't suppose either of us will ever be privileged to travel in such magnificent surroundings.
It's really interesting watching that video through there, obviously about how the dry dock was actually built long before they even, planned, for Titanic and such. It was built, with it in mind. So it's really interesting kind of learning about that, and obviously how the history of the White Star Line, it's all about luxury. It's, it wasn't meant for speed or anything. While they were very fast, it was meant to be, luxurious, really fine dining, elegant experience. So it's, it's kind of fun watching something like that, and then thinking about how obviously it's changed now, the kind of cruise ships and the stuff that you get nowadays. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a lovely room, lots of little exhibits on going through the history of Belfast, and starting now to get in towards the kind of shipping companies, and then obviously through to the next bit, which is going to be more so about the Titanic. But yeah, let's have a look around. You've got these H&W gates here, which is obviously Harlan and Wolff. So it says, from Queen's Road you are now entering the Harlan and Wolff shipyard. To your right is a pair of iron gates that once marked the boundary to Queen's Island. Thousands of island men pass through these gates daily. Other gates, more ornately designed than this pair, can be seen at the nearby entrance to the Harlan and Wolff offices, which are obviously here in Belfast. Very, very cool. Head on round now towards the Olympic class ships.
I thought we built British ships. They fly the British flag, James. They shall be constructed in our finest shipyard by our most skilled craftsmen. Great Leviathans acting as ambassadors for the Empire. British ships built with American money.
Heading up one of the gantries. So that room's really quite cool. They've got a little exhibit that you can operate a crane and move kind of backwards and forwards, which is quite cool. And then there's a little game on the floor there that I couldn't quite get working, but I think the whole point is you're meant to step on the rivets, you know, to act as if you're, you know, riveting all the ship and stuff together. But yeah, it's quite cool. Now heading up into the lift, up the gantry to the next floor. Going up the gantry. This is to the next gallery, which is on level 4. Oh, that's really cool. Go for a wander. Let's get to work. Turn left to continue the Titanic experience. So we were just down there. And we're making our way for the next part of the exhibit, which is looking at the construction of the Titanic. Throughout the tour you do have all these different points here, and that's to do with the audio guide. So you can get the audio guide in multiple languages from downstairs, and as you go around the building it will tell you, you know, look out for point 12, and it will talk to you about the different bits and bobs that the museum is showing. So my camera took ages to focus then. Mind your step, the shipyard can be a very dangerous place to work. Can't remember if this is the little ride that they've got here coming up, but we'll have a look. I think it might be, so let's go have a explore down here. I think it is, yeah. Yes it is. You've got the Shipyard Ride. You can choose to go to the right and bypass it entirely if you just want to do the experience, or if you go to the left here you can go on the Shipyard Ride. So it's really a kind of fun little ride they've got here. You can see how the Titanic was built as if like that you were a worker. So some safety information there. Obviously you've got to leave strollers and stuff behind, but let's make our way now down here to experience this ride. So it's kind of like a little floating ride. You sit in these little pods here, and obviously takes you around the attraction. Let's go have a look.
I came in here the day after my 14th birthday, Harlan and Wolf. That's where you worked in Belfast. My dad got me my start, then my brothers after me. You could hear the noise from where we lived, but nothing prepared you for the size of the place. I was there from the beginning. I watched the shipwrights lay the keel blocks. They set big wooden blocks on the slipway to start with, then the keel atop of that, like a backbone, and the frames attached to that, like a skeleton.
Workshops everywhere. It took weeks to find your way around. There'd be workshops for every trade you ever heard of. Painters, sailmakers, coppersmiths, boiler makers, cabinet makers. I even learned a bit about French polishing off them.
Harlan was a fine place to work, but dangerous. Every ship cost a life, and there'd be lots of injuries besides.
I was in the engine works for a while. Very well equipped it was. That's where we built the triple expansion engines. 2 of them, each as high as a 3-story house.
I worked in the frame bending shop. You'd heat steel beams in the furnace, then hook them onto slabs of cast iron and hammer them curved. It was skilled work. You had to bend them more than you needed because the frame straightened out a little when it cooled.
The shell plates that made up the hull weighed up to 4.5 tons. They were taller than the da.
The plates were overlapped on the edges. Some were raised, one after another. We called it clincher. One of the foremen taught me years ago. That's how you built steel ships.
I worked as a heater boy. You had to heat the rivets on a wee plate. You pumped the bellows till the rivet was white hot. Then you get a hold of it with your tongs and throw it up to the catcher. And he put it in the hole in the plate with the holder up. There were two of us on the other side of the plate that'll hold her up. We had to hammer the rivet so it filled the hole before it turned dull red.
The double bottom. That's a wee space we call the tanks, made up of steel plates. The rest of the rivet squad all had to fit into that gap.
One of the four men would check each rivet with a special hammer. If it made a ringing sound, we'd have to get back and chase it out after work.
I'd get scared working down in that double bottom. You only had candles for light.
And the constant hammering against the shell plates. You could hear it all over Belfast. Some of those boys ended up stone deaf, so they did. We were paid 31 bob a week. The heater boy and catcher got 16 bob. But we all worked the same 54 hours.
The upper deck was steel too, and part of the strength of the ship. There's no straight lines in a ship, and when you look down the weather deck, you can see the shear of the hull, the stopped her reflection at sea. The stern frame had to be strong enough to take the rudder and turning in heavy seas. You'd have all these timbers and guy wires to steady the frame, and men scurrying around like ants underneath.
When we came to launch day, I was torn between pride and fear. The standing ways were coated in tallow, train oil and soft soap. So the ship would slide when they shifted her weight off the blocks. That was the most dangerous part. When the shipwrights were knocking away the last props, they were under compression, you see, and the sliding ways would be released by the hydraulic trigger.
100,000 people watched the launch. Some paid a bob to sit in the reserved seating. There were extra trams laid on. Then we all went off to the pub to wish her well. Ach, you were proud to be an island man that day. And Titanic is the pride of Belfast.
So I've just done the ship ride there, as you would have seen. It's a really cool little ride actually. It's quite a nice little break during your experience. You can obviously sit down for a minute, and it's just really interesting and stuff to learn about how the ship was built, the process of obviously doing all the rivets and how much they were paid and stuff like that. And he said that they got paid 31 bob a week, which I've just learned here. Bob was 20 shillings. So yeah, kind of, there you go. Something learn something new every day. But it's a really cool ride actually. You don't have to do it. Like I say, if you want to bypass it, you just come to the right as you come up to this level. It's really worth doing if you can. It's a really good ride. Takes about 5-10 minutes maybe, and you don't have to also leave wheelchairs or anything like that. If you do have a wheelchair or you need some assistance, there are carts that you can go in as well to get on board the ride. But it's a really fun little ride here, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Now I'm going to wander around the rest of the exhibit.
Every plate had to be riveted in place, which is partially mechanized and partially done by hand by riveting schools. The riveters work will take their time. On one side of the plate, the iron rivet. Titanic's construction began with the keel being placed on a series of wooden blocks laid on the slipway. These were made of pitch pine and were stacked about 4 feet high with angled wedges on top. On these were laid the first steel plates. The plates were strengthened on the bottom by a flat slab keel bar, which protected the bottom of the ship. On top of the steel plates, a 6-foot-high solid spine was laid, which ran the length of the ship and was known as the vertical keel. The vertical keel had a rigid rib of plates which ran along its spine. At the base was Titanic's double bottom. Here the hull was made up of 2 layers of steel plates, in some cases forming enclosed tanks and coal bunkers.
So this here is obviously telling you about the ship and how it was built, the different stages. So obviously it gives you some information about the shipyard. It starts with the keel laying, then they obviously do the framing around the outside, do all the plating, the riveting, getting all the decks in place, and then they obviously fit the propeller and the rudder and everything else. So really interesting process. This whole section here covers how the ship was built, the different stages. You can learn about obviously the fitting of the rudder, how that works. So the launch. May 31st, 1911. So this is preparing for the launch of the Titanic from dry dock. When she was launched, she travelled almost twice her length in 62 seconds. It's crazy. That's what a launch day ticket looked like. So this here is giving you some information about the launch, tells you when the keel was laid, when the ship was delivered. Obviously its launching weight was 25,000 tons, which is a far cry from a lot of modern kind of cruise lines and stuff, but back then that was absolutely enormous. 62 seconds it took to launch. So launching out of here, down there. Very, very cool. This one here, like I said, was just talking about the launch of the Titanic, so getting it obviously out of the dry dock. And now we're going to look at the fit out. So this is obviously how they then fit out the ship with all the different cabins, dining rooms, all that kind of stuff. So let's have a little wander around now. You've got this really, really cool model here. Absolutely enormous. There you go, Titanic's hull was virtually empty after her launch. None of the permanent machinery to power the ship had been installed, only portable boilers to power the winches that pulled her to the dockside. So when it went into the water, it really was empty, and then they obviously started to do the fitting out now, adding in all the different engines, the boilers, engines, there we go, and obviously the huge propellers.
At 7 a.m, Captain Edward John Smith came aboard the Titanic to prepare for the Board of Trade muster at 8. Around 9:30, the first passengers arrived on the boat train from London Waterloo. By late morning, all the passengers and crew were aboard, minus 2 firemen who were delayed in a public house and missed the departure. At noon on April 10th, bang on time and fully expecting to be in New York within a few days, the Titanic sounded her whistle and cast off her lines. As the Queen of the Ocean. By March 1912,
So you got a look here at one of the cabins. Some of the furniture you would have seen on board the ship.
Before she could be handed over, Titanic had to undergo sleep trials.
Different information there about the ports, its route. We'll get to the Maiden Voyage in just a minute, but in here they've got obviously the video over here that you were just seeing a little bit of, where they're talking about the ship's kind of maiden voyage, the captain. It's got information on the funnels over there, the propeller, how the propeller is 7 meters in diameter, which is kind of crazy. And I've got this little walkthrough video of the ship over here, which I'll show you now. So here is some information about the video tour that's just on to my left. Step inside for a tour of the Titanic from her keel right up to her navigating bridge. It takes approximately 4 minutes. You stand just here in one of these stars and you can watch this tour. 945 crew on board, of which you'd have 61 on deck, 317 engineers, firemen, electricians, and the rest would be cooks, waiters, barbers, stewards. Just looking at how they did the outfitting for Titanic, it's really interesting to know, and I didn't realise this till now, that there were only 2 bathrooms for all of the third class passengers. So obviously the cabins were split down between second class, third class and first class, and obviously the first class suites would have all had their own bathroom and been luxurious and nice, and then third class just had to share the little sink area and stuff in their cabin, and actually only had 2 bathrooms between all of them. Gives you a little bit of information about the different carpets they used on board. So this is really interesting as well. Titanic didn't actually have any facilities to do any of the laundry on board, therefore they had to carry everything they needed for the voyage on her. So 45,000 napkins and 18,000 bed sheets. Obviously most modern ships now have the ability to wash it all. Cool little fact. Now we can learn a little bit about Titanic's maiden voyage. So she left Belfast bound for Southampton, got her fastest ever speed there of 23.5 knots, sorry 23.25 knots, 26.75 miles per hour, the highest speed she would ever attain, before then heading to Shipyard, over to Queenstown, and then obviously heading towards New York. £2,500 of sausages on board, 800 bundles of fresh asparagus, 437 gallons of ice cream. A little look here at the first class luncheon menu. Fillets of brill, chicken a la Maryland, corned beef, vegetables, dumplings, mutton chops, salmon mayonnaise, and lots of cheese. Sounds like my kind of menu.
When you do, make sure the ink is dry and no smudges. Lane has the makings of fine steward.
But this was so crowded that something prompted me to ask to be taken back again on the ship. Strange as it may seem, when this last boat was in use, released from the barracks, it overturned and all in it was drowned. The water was by this time nearly on a level with the deck from which the boats were being lowered.
That's really kind of odd to read. Obviously talking about how the coroner's report and the list of possessions, how they were just reduced it to a few lines. So John Adams buried at sea, different people there, claimed by someone obviously forwarded onto various different locations.
How long did you stay in your bunk? We went back in our bunks a few minutes, then the bosun came.
Aftermath and lessons learned, passengers and plan. Look at one of the lifeboats that they had on board the ship.
That's from Mr. Andrews, he said. Keep it to yourselves and let no one know. I won't tell you anything else.
He said to me, well, if you value your life...
Obviously it looks relatively small, but it was designed to hold a hell of a lot of people. And obviously some of the ones that left Titanic didn't have that very many people in, so see if they'd been filled up to where they should have been capacity wise, more people would have been saved. But so this side is really cool. It gives you some information about what happened as a result of the sinking in terms of, you know, changes and the aftermath. So obviously it says here now that the southern of the two North Atlantic shipping lanes was moved to avoid icebergs, and obviously now they have a patrol that still monitors it for icebergs.
This went on for some time.
You have an hour here for SOS calls to give a better chance of them being picked up. Ships have to have a radio room man 24 hours a day. Ships are required to be evacuated within 30 minutes of an emergency. All lifeboats carried food, water, compass and other equipment. Obviously this is a big one. Everyone was guaranteed a place on a lifeboat.
How long after this did the boat go down?
So regardless of how many people on board a ship, there must be enough room for everyone.
I was taken down with the ship.
You've got this little touch screen down here as well, so you can look at the people that were on board Titanic and find out about their jobs, their nationality, and you can break it down as well if you want to know by a particular nationality. So for example, let's go for Italian. So if you press Italian, it pops up and it tells you their job. So you go look at some waiters, stoker there, Mr. Francesco Celotti, Port of Southampton, Italian.
They might have been dead.
Yeah, gives you lots of really interesting information. So if you want to, you can come back out of that, go back to all. You can find out the people that were rescued and those that unfortunately died as well on here. So if you go for rescue, this is some of the people that here were rescued. Got Rhoda Mary up here, American, worked at the Salvation Army. You can do it by age if you want. So it's kind of interesting. Obviously it's quite sombre, looking at all the different people, looking at all the names of the people that obviously passed away, but it's really interesting to see kind of just different nationalities, different jobs, where people were from, what port they got on in. So yeah, kind of interesting. That's at the bottom of the staircase here, just by the lifeboat. Look at the distinctive yellow crane. Really cool little archway into this room here, looking at some of the myths and reality. Different films that have come out, obviously Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. Look at some of the older movies they've got. Got a little test your knowledge over there if you want to put some of the knowledge you learned on this experience to the test. And then this heads out towards the windows overlooking the waterfront here. Great view of the city here. Obviously you've got the water down there. Got the docks over there that I was stood at earlier. Very, very cool. Lovely view. Absolutely gorgeous day here as well. A little bit windy, but the sun is shining. So this is really interesting. It tells you about where Titanic is located. So it's 3,840 meters down. And obviously comparing that to some of the wonders of the world, the Eiffel Tower, 324 meters tall, Empire State Building, 450 meters tall. So it gives you just an idea of just how deep it is down into the ocean. I'm going to head on through now towards the kind of Discovery Theatre, which is where they've got a little bit of the wreckage located.
Oh my God, shoes. Women, two different sizes. They could be a mother and daughter. Well, they came down together, that's for sure. Some kind of basket? No one's ever figured out what that is. Bet you know what that is, though. Go closer, I'm zooming in. A chamber car. Next thing you'll see is the stern section. What a mess. Remember, it came down separately.
So this is really cool. There's a little like touchscreen with a debris field kind of interactive display on, so you can obviously go around here and look at the different submarines that they were using. You can press, for example, here and it will show you that particular. Oh, sorry, here you go. You press the submarine and then it pops up and you can see the different stuff that they found. So obviously the main boiler here, one of Titanic's main boilers, the installation of the boilers was shown in Gallery 4, which we saw earlier. If you return back to the submarine, you can then go around and see, for example, now a shovel they found. So if you press over here, it takes you to the next item. So you can explore the debris field yourself and have a look. Obviously now we're seeing one of the items they found, a shovel. You can return back to the surface and then switch through to, for example, number 2. Looking at different bits there, telegraph, a spittoon, railings. Also shows you where the kind of Titanic itself is. So if you come back up, to the surface, you have all these different submarines going around. You've got part of the ship here, so that looks like the back of the ship, and then you've got the front of the ship here. So there's a massive difference between where the two kind of ended up. And then obviously around that, you have all this different debris, larger items, you've got smaller items. This one here is coming up towards a picture look, serving bowl. So it's just really interesting. Giving you a chance to explore the debris field. So that's on the bottom of this theatre where obviously I was just watching the little video that's still playing on the screen, and you can come over here.
What are those?
And you can explore the debris field from above as well. So it's kind of eerie, but it's really, really interesting.
What's
seeing
the telemotor for?
debris field.
It's part of the hydraulic system that connected the ship's wheel to the steering.
Now we head to the Ocean Exploration Centre.
Incredible.
So this is another really interesting display they've got here. It's talking about the different zones of the ocean and the different kind of submersibles and wreckages and stuff that you can find. So for example, it's got about Britannic's wreck up there, 90 metres to 120 metres. The deepest scuba dive recorded is 318 metres. The wreck of the Titanic is 3,800 metres. The RV Hercules, which is one of the submarines they use, goes down to a depth of 4,050. So there's not much kind of margin there. And then you've got these two here. The RV Angus 6,000 metres, and then the Nereus and Abysmo. Really interesting to read about this. And they've got this little zone that you can explore just down here. Got a close-up look at one of the submersibles here. It's called the Mohawk. It was attached to the ship that it was brought out on by cable, and obviously it can go down into the water. It has a little arm to pick up stuff, cameras, sensors, lights, all sorts of different bits and bobs, but that's really cool. Quite small, but really kind of the technology and stuff it has in there is quite amazing really, even one for that size, but that's really cool. And then it's got a standard diving suit just here, little sonar, side scanner, and then all these bits around here. So I'm going to head outside in just a minute to the Titanic and Olympic slipways, which is these bits just here where obviously the ships were released from dry dock. But that is pretty much the tour of the inside done. Really nice building, lots to see in here. You can take it at your own pace, so it could be a 3-hour experience, or you could do it in kind of an hour and a half as I have done. But you've also got the SS Nomadic outside to have a look at, and indeed the slipways out here. So let's venture on outside now and have a little look at those. And they've got some more information here about the city, stuff that you can get on up to, different you know, bits around, different memorials. You've got the big fish that I've seen before walking here as well from my hotel. You've obviously got the marina, the docks, the SS Nomadic just there, the museum itself, and then obviously different bits and bobs around here. You've got Titanic Studios just across the way, some of the different cranes operating here, so lots of things that you can look at here, get your bearings, and have a bit of an explore of. So I just wanted to point out some of the food options you have here. You have the pantry, which is kind of a little sit-in restaurant. They obviously do different meals, drinks. They've got burgers on the menu by the looks of it, salads, sandwiches, stuff like that. And then you've also got over there the galley, which is an express food bar. That one's more kind of like a coffee shop, so you can go and get kind of drinks to go, food to go, coffees. There is a little sit-down area there still, but predominantly if you want to have like a sit-down meal, the pantry just here is the best place to have. And obviously you've got a nice view of outside there as well. But the express kind of food bar over there is obviously kind of your grab and go, coffee, sandwiches, little kind of lunch deals and stuff for the kids, but that's over by the entrance just there. And then just here on the left hand side you've got the Titanic store as well, so I'll give you a quick tour around here now. So you can get different souvenir guides here in a variety of different languages for £6 or £8 for the ones in various different languages. And then obviously in the store here you've got a little penny press, they have little magnets. You can get lots of cool t-shirts and hoodies, different Titanic themed souvenirs, models of the ship, fudge, teddy bears. There's some really interesting books and stuff here about, you know, stories of survivors, different glassware and plates, jewellery. Really nice model of the ship there. Different mugs, posters, shirts, and it's all kind of reasonable prices. It's what you kind of expect from kind of places like this. That's a really nice shirt, I really like that. Titanic Belfast, £35, really nice quality. Little hoodies for the kids. Oh, I love that one as well for little Oliver. He looks so cute with that, bless him. Lots of really nice bits and bobs in here. It's a really cool design as well. I love the building. I think they've taken kind of inspiration with some of the lines and stuff of the ship. I think that was the kind of point of the building from what I remember reading a while ago. But looks lovely in the sunshine here in Belfast. Like I say, it's a little bit windy. It seems to kind of come and go, but the sun is shining. It's quite warm actually still, but lovely day. You've got a little plaque here giving you some information about you know, the different markings on the ground where they kind of had the kill and all these other bits and bobs. But yeah, it's lovely. You can walk all the way down the end there, which I'm going to do now. Then I'm going to make my way back towards the SS Nomadic. But glorious day here in Belfast. Really enjoyed that. So you'll have to excuse any kind of wind noise. Like I said, I've had to switch to the iPhone because my camera is running out of battery. Also, you know, I just apologise for the hair. It's a little bit windy. But no, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. Again, obviously I've done it before with Kate and William. But it's just nice to kind of walk through. It's quite relaxed. You've got the ride where you can kind of sit down for a minute, you know, take a break, and it's just a really interesting experience. There's different bits that you read that you don't remember from last time, and it can be as long or as short as you want. I've taken about an hour and a half to walk through there, maybe an hour and 40 actually, so it's quite a, you know, lengthy experience. But it didn't have to be that long if you don't want it to. But it's just nice. You can kind of read all the different bits and bobs around there, or you can kind of pause and just kind of read bits. And it's just up to you how you take it. But it's a really lovely experience here to do in Belfast. I know a lot of the cruise lines that stop here offer it as an excursion as well, and I would highly recommend doing it. Obviously, I'm outside now having a bit of a walk, which is quite nice. And then going to head towards the SS Nomadic. Look at the state of my hair. I need a haircut, but no, it's a great experience here. It's a short walk from the city centre. We've also got the W5 Museum, just coming up the road. It's kind of like a kids museum, different kind of science exhibits and stuff, and that's really good fun as well. But yeah, really enjoyed that actually. It's a really nice experience to do here. I'll leave the link for the website in the description for you, so if you want to check out ticket prices and stuff, be sure to do that. Like I said, I paid £21.50 for my ticket, and you book online and it's nice and quick. You can print the tickets off here when you collect them on the machine, or you can just use the app and do that as well. But got the sound of the airport in the background. George Best Airport's just behind me, and let's go for a wander before my hair gets any more crazy. There are also a fair few of these around there, these kind of stained glass displays, and it's all to do with Game of Thrones. So this one here is showing the Iron Throne, so if there's any Game of Thrones fans, definitely worth coming here and looking at these. Obviously Game of Thrones was filmed nearby, so you can come here and explore some of the different sets and stuff they have. You've also obviously got the studios just over there where they film part of the show as well. There we are then at the very end. Obviously you can see some of the ships out there at the minute. You've got some of the container ships. There's a ferry just behind there. And as we turn this way as well, you've got some more of the kind of space that they bring in, various different ferries, car transport, stuff like that. But it is quite windy. But you get a cracking view of the museum. Really open. You can come down here, sit here for a little bit, have something to eat, just enjoy the sunshine. There's lots of little benches and stuff around, but yeah, it's lovely to kind of come down here and have a bit of a walk and explore. So I've just obviously been making my way back towards the front of the museum, coming away from the wind for a little bit. My hair is still all over the place, but that's all right. But it's been a really lovely day here. Obviously you get quite a lot as part of your admission. You have obviously access to all the different galleries, you have all the different kind of movies, touchscreens and interactive bits that come with that. You've got the Shipyard Ride that you can experience, which is really good fun in itself. There are a couple of different theatres around that you can obviously explore. You've got the debris filled one where you can sit there, and it's a good kind of 10-minute video. You can go through that and experience all that. You've got the different kind of expedition areas downstairs. You've also obviously got this bit out here that you can come and walk along, and you don't need a ticket to access this bit, but you know, you can include that as part of it as well. And then obviously in a minute I'm going to show you the Nomadic, and you can walk around there, see the different cabins, rooms, go up on the top deck and stuff like that. So you've got quite a lot here to do as part of the single admission, and it's pretty good value, I think, for that. You don't have to rush. You do at the minute have to book a slot, and that is your arrival time, but there's no time that you've got to be out by. You can take as long as you want or as quick as you want, but it's really nice to come down here and visit. If you are ever in Belfast, like I mentioned, it's definitely worth checking out. Short walk from the city centre, and yeah, lovely day, particularly when the sun is shining. So the SS Nomadic was Titanic's tender. There you go, alongside Titanic. This is really cool. Let's go onto the top deck. powder room. Much like the museum, there's lots of different areas that you can explore, different kind of interactive exhibits that you can look at, different projections throughout the ship. First class luggage only. Oh, there's a little bear. That's so cute. Oh, we're in second class now. So this ship was actually restored and then opened up again in 2013. A crew member called the oiler was employed to lubricate the propeller shafts. I'm not gonna lie, I'm lost already. I don't know where I was heading. I was trying to head upstairs, but got distracted and sidetracked, as I often do, and then ended up in the engine room. And now I'm heading towards the front of the ship. Got a look here at some of the life jackets they had on board. Kind of cushioned. Far cry from what we have nowadays. Crew dress up. Oh, they used to do this before COVID. They had different kind of hats and stuff out that you could try on, but obviously to prevent you know, spreading germs and stuff, they've got rid of that for the moment. That might come back soon, but really cool, lots of stuff that you can read here. Different bits of information about the ship, its crew, the routes it used to take. Whoa. I forgot they had this. Oh, Oliver would love this. Oh, it's a little train. That's so cool. Onto this one, and then reverse it back. It's a little train. Oh, it doesn't work. Pick up the different bits, and away it goes. Oh, that's really cool. Shipyard Port. Now you got one of those little block puzzles as well. Move and turn the cubes to make different shipping line posters. There we go. Now remember this from last time. You have to control the Nomadic and steer it to alongside the Titanic. So let's see. I'm doing this one-handed, so let's have a look, see if I can do this. Beautiful. Well done. You've passed the first test. See if I'm going to do the next level. Oh, it's the same one. Oh, no, it's not. This is level 2. Oh, we've got another boat to contend with now, I see. Oh, I meant to do that. It's beautiful. So we're going to do the final test. The sun has gone down and the port is very busy. To become a captain, you must maneuver your ship past tugs, buoys and SS traffic. No problem. Let's do this. I'm still doing it one-handed, so... see if we can do this here. He's done this before. Come on, nicely does it. You've completed the trial and achieved the rank of captain. Oh yeah! You can look forward to a successful career piloting vessels for the most luxurious shipping line in the world. Well, at least I know I've got a backup career in the making then. Should flying workout. Really cool little kind of set and stuff, loads of different kind of old style food, and yeah, really cool. Let's see what's this way. I am now on the bridge deck. Meet the captain this way. Ring for the captain. Captain Roltard. Very cool. Let's head outside into the sunshine. Ah, it's better. Yeah, great view here. Very front of the ship. I'm flying, I'm the king of the world. Yeah, it must look like a right Muppet here. I think we can all agree from my simulator abilities downstairs that I would be a great ship captain. I love the kind of old style wheel. I love this as well, the kind of like cling cling, like full steam ahead. That's really cool. I could definitely imagine myself out on the open ocean, steering one of these. I'm very easily entertained if you haven't gathered already. One final look at the ship here. Really, really cool. Glorious day here, and the wind seems to have died down. There are all these little exhibits and stuff that you can look at out here. Information on the ship, the dock. Some of them are interactive, so you can, wind this one up, select which language you want it in, and it will play. Different indicators about the depth and stuff, you can learn about that. Lots of really interesting stuff. I've taken a little bit of time to walk around, read some of the different kind of information boards, and it's fascinating learning about the ship, what it was used for, who was on it, the different classes and stuff, and yeah, really, really cool. So fast forward a little bit of time and I'm now back at my hotel room. After coming off the SS Nomadic, my phone actually died. The camera battery was already very low and struggling to kind of record clips. So I left it for a moment, came back to the hotel, I've charged the phone back up, and now I'm going to obviously end the video here. But it was a really great day. I do really love the Titanic Museum, the whole kind of dock area. You've got all that kind of stuff that you can walk around and explore. You've got the W5 Museum, which is really fun, and I will do a vlog from there one day as well. You've got a cinema, Hollywood Bowl, and obviously the museum and everything that goes along with that. But it's a really, really nice area. The tickets to the museum are reasonably priced. You get a lot in there. Obviously you get the different kind of theatres and the videos you can watch, all the interactive exhibits, the stuff that you can walk through, learn more about, the history of Titanic, how it was built, as well as obviously the little ride you get as well. So really nice afternoon here in Belfast. I've really enjoyed it. It's nice to be back. But yeah, that's going to be all for this video. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. That's going to be all for this video. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We've got many more videos coming from little trips that we do here on the channel, as well as cruise videos and theme park vlogs coming very, very soon. That's going to be all from me. Many thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.